a lot of fun supporting West Ham at the moment, isn't it? Mo Kudus on his way to Tottenham for about 55 million quid. The move that I think many of us feared, I certainly did, seems all but complete now. Not being officially confirmed, but it seems like it's on the way there. And I've already given my thoughts on the Kudus situation, so I won't go over that in too much detail. I did read a few of the comments on my last video saying that we can't blame Kudus for this situation in terms of his form, because we played him out of position, we didn't give him the best service, we were poor and all that all the players were poor. And I accept most of those points. I don't subscribe that he's not blameless. I do think we didn't get the best out of him. I do think Julian Lopetegui didn't get the best out of him and obviously had a sort of confrontation there. And Graham Potter didn't get the best out of him. Tried him in a few different positions and it just didn't really work. So we, as a club in terms of his form, have a great amount to answer for. But he does as well. He's the player that walks over that white line and he has to perform, particularly as such a big name player for West Ham. If you want to be that sort of Champions League star, you want to be that name that everyone talks about in the Premier League, you have to perform week in, week out. You can't just give excuses all the time and say, I'm not being played in my favourite position. It doesn't help. I get that. But I don't think he's blameless. And that's even before the news came out that allegedly, and I think that's the key word in this way, because you don't know for sure what has been said behind closed doors. You don't know if this is a David Sullivan spin or it was genuinely said by Kudus that he only wanted to go to Tottenham. I'm going to take it with a pinch of salt anyway, because like I said, for me, Kudus is not blameless before that situation. And if that is true, that he said that he only wants to move to Tottenham, which the fact that he's going there now suggests that. But again, this could have just been sort of engineered, if you like, by David Sullivan. But it does suggest that there's some truth in it. And obviously that is far from ideal as well. So I don't think Kudus has covered himself in glory in this whole sort of last season, this whole situation. But 95% of the blame has to be held at the club, because we have got us into this mess where we need to sell to buy. I still don't think that's been really fully explained and understood, that why we're in such a perilous position in terms of our finances. But here we go. That's the situation. We deemed that we have to sell Kudus, which I've mentioned before, I don't think was the worst thing in the world. I think Kudus' best position is a right winger cutting in on his left foot. And we've got a right winger cutting in on his left foot in JARROD Bowen. And we've even got a potential understudy in Guilherme who could also sort of fit into that mould. So I think positionally it makes sense to move Kudus on. It's a shame because he is such a good player. And I do expect him to go and do well at Tottenham. And it is a shame we're losing him, a player of that talent. But we are in the situation that we're in, which is, like I say, 95% of the club's fault, that we're just in this mess and we're having to deal with Spurs. I said it before, again, I don't want to go over it again, but we shouldn't be dealing with Spurs. We should have just said no from the get-go. It's non-negotiable. It's not happening. And if that means Kudus stays, then Kudus stays. You've got to draw a line somewhere, in my opinion, but I know people disagree with that. Anyway, on to the actual transfer window, and there is just no excuses now, though. I mean, that is one thing this Kudus move does do. It opens up a lot of opportunities for us. It should do. And for me, there just should be no excuses now. The window starts now. We should be looking to get these deals over the line in the next few weeks. Just because you don't have the actual cash flow, if you like, to start dealing with players and start buying players and that kind of stuff, doesn't mean you can't get them lined up. Doesn't mean you can't have your key targets in each position ready to go. That, right, when we get this money and we can just ship it straight out to you for that player and you to that player. That should be happening. Like, there is no reason Carl McCauley, Graham Potter, the club should not be in a position where we know exactly who we're going after. So I'm just not interested in excuses. I certainly wasn't before this whole situation, but I'm definitely not now. I'm not interested in hearing excuses of we're trying to get this one in the line and this is a player of interest. Player of interest is gone. We are first week in July is gone, 10th of July, and we need to start bringing players in. Graham Potter said that he wanted players to come in for the pre-season training. Well, that pre-season training has already begun. So we're already behind and we need to catch up and we need to get these players through the door. The closest one seems to be Juve. I actually quite like it. I watched him for Senegal against England and I thought we played really well in that game. Not too much aware of him other than that. So that's quite a limited sort of scout for him from my side. But he seems like a player that ticks a lot of boxes in terms of his attributes, his physicality, his pace. But I do think there's probably more key positions that we need to sort out, that we need to prioritise before left back, because Emerson is still at the club. I know that he's probably going to go out, but Emerson and Skulls are still at the club. Skulls is definitely going nowhere. So if we sign Juve, let's say we get that one over the line first without selling Emerson, all of a sudden we've got 3 left backs. Again, points to just poor squad building from the club. And then that will mean we'll just accept whatever we can get for Emerson. And then again, you start looking at the books going, oh, well, we just got rid of Emerson. Well, that's not the fans' fault. Like, it just doesn't seem to be the planning involved. Centre midfield is a question I've been asking for a while. There still doesn't seem to be too much happening with that. Links a lot with Onyedika, but that doesn't seem to have had any movement in recent weeks. We need that physicality. If we start the season, other than Kudus, with the exact same squad as we were last season, the one position I'd want to go in with a new player in is centre midfield. Even if nothing else is solved in this window, centre midfield, we need to go in with more physicality, because we were just torn apart in that position last season, which I know I've said before. So, yeah, who's leaving? We've got a lot of players in that position. Ward-Prowse, Souček, Rodriguez, Alvarez, all links with moves away, but nothing seems to be happening with those players. And if we sign another centre midfielder, which we definitely need to do, we're just going to have another midfielder into the mix. So that needs sorting out that situation. Again, striking position. It's now come out that Fulkrug is unlikely to leave. He's come back a couple of pounds lighter and looks a bit more up for it. It's good of him. And yeah, there's this idea now that he will go into next season performing a lot better. I think Tim Steiten spoke on German TV recently talking about that he really sort of rates Fulkrug as a striker and feels like he's going to have a big season ahead in the Premier League. I hope he's right. But we definitely need another striker, a younger striker, a striker with more pace. Again, doesn't seem to be much movement. I know we've been linked to a few players, but doesn't seem to be much movement there. That needs to get solved. And then the goalkeeping situation as well. Like, we've literally lost a goalkeeper. We've only got our main keeper of Areola, and then you've got Fodringham as well, who's definitely a third keeper. Who are we bringing in? Are they going to be backup to Areola? Are they going to take Areola's place? Like, there was links with the Leicester, the goalkeeper, but that seems to have gone a little bit quiet as well. So many questions that need answering as soon as possible. And that's why I say this window starts now for us. And there are no excuses. These moves should have been lined up, ready to go. So I know Sullivan doesn't normally work on weekends. So start next week, I really hope that we start to see some movement with players, and maybe even end of this week. And we start to get some players through the door, because we definitely need it. That first game against Sunderland is fast approaching. It's going to come up before you know it. And if we go into that game with the squad that we've got now, there's going to be massive holes in where we can compete in the Premier League again. So yeah, it's a big few days, it's a big few weeks. I think there's going to be plenty of backlash on the back of this Kudus move to Tottenham once it gets confirmed, and there'll be plenty of backlash if West Ham don't start getting bodies through the door. Come on, you ones.